the maize. Milk was not a cash product. It was just for drinking. So but when we came in, working with some of the people, in particular, I remember one person called Victoria Sectoreko, was one of our agriculture ministers. We said no. Everything that has a market is a cash crop. So that's how we ended up making maize a cash crop, cassava a cash crop, milk a cash product, and all of that. So that is phase 3. Phase 4 is where we are, the knowledge economy, making our economy produce products of knowledge, like automobiles, vaccines, electronics, and so on. So that's where we are now. Now, as we were doing all this, of course, we didn't, the tax collection was improving, was growing, because when you talk of the welfare, of the public servant, where do you get the money from? You get the money from the taxes, the economy. And the taxes are not only for the wage bill, they are also for the infrastructure, for security, for defense, and so on. So then you have the problem, how do I support the welfare of the public servants when I don't have enough money? That's why, but people don't listen to our advice. But from the beginning, you were very conscious of this, and we gave very clear advice. And our advice was, especially for the UPDF, we said, you people, we don't have enough money to pay what they were calling a living wage. I remember at one time, the Makerere teachers went on a strike, and they wanted a wage from which you could live comfortably. But we didn't have the money to do that. So our advice at that time was, why don't you get the small salary you get, but handle the issues of welfare collectively. In the UPDF, we encouraged the building of army schools. Why don't children of biological children, not relatives, not, because that also becomes another complication. Why don't the biological children of the soldiers, and by extension you can say of the policemen, of the even other public servants, if they had listened to us, but they were not, many of them were not even listening to what we were saying. Even if I'm getting a small salary, but if my child is studying free in an army school, in a primary school, a secondary school, a technical school, maybe when it comes to university, it may be difficult because it may not be easy to build army universities and so on. But at least these lower levels, our children could study free through our institutional institutional facilities. You address the issue of education of your children. Health can be addressed collectively by having army health centers all over the place. Housing, what General Tafwiri is talking about. Houses built by our own internal capacity. The UPDF brigade, engineering brigade, is doing a wonderful job. They are building so many facilities. and doing it cheaper. Because when you use private people, the private man, many of them don't have their own money. They go to a bank, a commercial bank, moreover, and borrow money at 18% to build, if you hire them. Then, so if you are going to build a facility for 100 million, it is now going to be 118 million. 18% for the bank. Nothing to do with the houses. You are making money for the banks. Then the company want a profit. They want a profit of 20%. So you add another 20 million on the 118. So it is now 138 million. Then, because they are a private company, they pay tax, VAT, 18%. So now you have added another 18 million on the 138. It is now 156 million. Now, many of them don't have their own transport. They hire vehicles of other people to transport the materials. So, a building that, a facility that would have cost 100 million has now gone to 180 million or something like that. So I told the soldiers, why would you allow this to happen? Why don't you, and you have got these engineers of the young people finishing Makerere who want to join the army, the police, civil engineers who can come and they are paid and they build. You give them equipment and they build facilities for you at price of the materials, because they are already being paid by the army. They don't charge anything. So the only cost you have are the materials to use. We have been talking about this, but I don't know, I have not had time to discuss it with you in detail, but I really think this is the correct way to go. Trying to use private, the business people come, they want to do this for that's a trap. It will be very expensive. The APDF is doing very well now. They have built so many facilities. You can go and share with them. Now, so that one would solve the issue of institutional housing. Instead of these policemen, as General Tafuri is saying, staying in Mukono, in all those places, stay near the workplace. And you walk on foot from your house to the workplace. This is what we recommended long ago. It's not a new recommendation, but people don't listen most of the time. They have their own solutions. Now, that is on the side of the welfare. But on the side of your assignment as a public officer in a society and economy that is getting out of all this cumulative history of the pre-colonial history, the colonial history, the breakdown caused by people like Idi Amin, and the recovery now. What do you do? What is your own contribution? Your own contribution, in my view, certainly that's what I've been doing. If the government can be able to support me more, good. But if it can't, I'll work with the little that is there and continue to build. And when I continue to build, the country gets more capacity to support everybody, including with the public servants. But in supporting them, if we cannot do it all at a go, we do it in a prioritized way. And I understand it. Even by 1970, before Amin came in, I had started working briefly in the public service. Even at that time, those managers there who were able to say, like for instance, we who had a bachelor of this, bachelor of that, social science, were getting 1,300 something shillings a month as an assistant secretary. That's what they were calling us, who had just joined. You join as assistant secretary, you become senior assistant secretary, you become principal assistant secretary, and under secretary, then eventually permanent secretary. I remember we were getting 1,300 and something, 33 and 30 cents. I don't know what they were adding, 30 cents. But then the lawyers, that time, the ones I had qualified with at Dar es Salaam, people like Martin Mwesiga and other people who died, they were getting 1,400. Why? Because the country at that time needed lawyers more. Lawyers had been in short supply. The doctors were getting 1,500. Yes. Why? Because yes, social scientists, history, literature, Latin and all that, yes, thank you very much. You are a highly learned person. You can quote Shakespeare. Shakespeare stood here and said this, he looked this way. Thank you very much. We have seen that you are a clever man, but please, Mr. Clever Man, we need doctors more now. So we pay them more than you. And you must accept that logic. So now, when it comes to remuneration, like recently, when some few years ago, when I insisted to you people, you are all wonderful people, learned and so on, very clever people. Even the way you dress, we can see that you are very learned. But in order to maintain a road, we need an engineer. So if we don't have enough money to pay all of you well, why don't we start with this engineer so that he can maintain the roads for us? And then the matoke can come from the village, and then we create more matoke, and then we earn more. And the doctor, so that's why I insisted that the scientists are paid more. Fortunately, some of these groups are not so many. Like if you look at the government scientists, the researchers in the agriculture, the engineers, civil engineers, they are not so many. So actually they can be paid because they are smaller, but they are very crucial. The doctors. Then slowly we said, okay, we added now the prosecutors. We shall get to everybody. But for people to say, no. Either to be like, there's what they call obukorwa. Obukorwa are I think they're called mangus. Mangus. The mangus have got a very primitive sense of democracy. The mangus are very small animals, but they are able to kill a huge cobra. They can kill a cobra, a big snake, they can kill it. And when they kill it, they break it into smaller pieces, And every mongoose must get an equal part. And if they don't get an equal part, they leave the whole snake there, they all go. Either we all get equal or nobody gets. Then I say, there you have become a kakorua.